2013 GSTL Season 1. NS Hosa. Axiom-Acer. MVP. FX Open. LGIM. Azubu. Prime. Startail.
Crank has come out to play, and we'll see if he can turn this streak around. Yoda is on a roll right now, but he's going to have to play a different matchup. He's up against the Protoss player, is Crank.
Yeah, we had already 2 wins for Yoda. He proved again that he is very strong in the matchup against Zerg. And here you can see that LGM is ahead in the series after Scarlet was able to win game 1. They lost 2 in a row.
Yep. And you know, Yoda is not an unstoppable force, but he's building some momentum right now. And he's kind of the backbone Terran of his team, I feel. And he comes out second very often. Now he's got 2 wins. By the way, here's some more information about the WCS Korea Season 1 coming up. Of course, sponsored by Mango 6. You guys know the schedule. It's on Tuesday at 6:10 p.m. with MC Flying, Yoda, and DRG.
Yeah, the next games are going to be great. I just love how everything evolves here currently. The games seem to be better every season. I like the dynamic yesterday that we had at the opening match. But the Blizzard employees were here as well. But now we're at the GSTL, we're at the Team League, and we want to see if Yoda can actually win his 3rd game. He already has 2 wins under his belt. Did very well against 2 Zerg players. He's facing a Protoss now, though. Yeah,
it's time to shift gears, go to a different matchup. I'm really curious about the map pick, and the map pick is, in fact, Belgier Vestige, I just saw, so this is a pretty cool choice.
In case you tuned in a little bit later and you realize that we have a different user interface today, I want to give a quick shout out to GameHard. This is actually an arcade map that we have, so you can test that out yourself. Go into the arcade on Battle.net and search for GameHard. You will see these maps. The zoom out is something that I especially like a lot, especially in a Zerg matchup, because Zerg tries to flank all the time, and if you have this angle, then you can just see how a plan comes together quite so often. Yep. Scarlet was able to pull it off. On the other hand, we didn't really see it to be successful for Mia, but we are jumping in a different game now. Belgier Vestige is our next map today, map number 4.
Yep, and it looks like it is uploaded and ready to go. We're going to jump into it in just a moment. Can Yoda shift gears here and beat a Protoss to take a 3rd win? Or is Crank going to ruin him here? Let's find out right now at the GSTL, casted by Calor Wolf.
Starting to the top left of Belgier Vestige, we have the 3rd player for Team Axiom-Acer. In red, it is
Axiom Crank.
Crank. Sometimes he gets cranky. His keyboard's even red.
Yeah. Very red indeed. Bottom right of the map, we have his opponent. 2 kills so far, took out 2 Zergs. Now he's up against the Protoss. This is
LGIM Yoda.
You know, for me, one of the things that I was a little bit curious about, I want to see what exactly Crank has up his sleeve. And the reason is quite simple. When he was playing in the UK just recently, he struggled against Terran quite a lot. In his group, he only took 3rd place, and he lost against the only Terran player that we had in the group, the 15-year-old German player, Hero Marine. And also, when he then advanced to the round of 12 into the bracket, he lost against Sting without taking a single map. So against Terran, he seemed to struggle in this particular tournament quite a lot. So the choice to send him out against such a strong Terran player must have a reason. Either he really improved a lot in the team house, or he has a specific strategy against Terran that he wants to showcase on this map.
Yeah, and look at how he's sending his probe down here. He swings it around the left side, and he's just going to go in here and get some scouting information. He's going double gas in the main. And for him, his build choice may actually be changed based on this gas that he scouts, because when you go for a build that is a secret, if you scout this gas, you know that it's not going to be a secret because the Reaper is going to go and see it most likely. You have to accept that. Yeah, maybe you get away with hiding it, but if the Reaper comes out and sees your build, then you can lose a game over it. So he has to now make the choice to, at the very least, wait a little bit before he hides any tech structures like a Stargate or a Twilight Council, for example, if he wants to go for a build like this.
Yep. The Reaper is already on its way now, and as you already pointed out, it is such a great tool if you want to get information about what your opponent is doing. So Crank, you have to show us what you have up in your mind. What is the idea here? Struggling in the SS Master Tournament in the UK, he's coming back to Korea, and he's the one who is sent out to take down a strong Terran opponent. So he has apparently definitely improved, at least in the in-house rankings. If not for that, he would probably not be the first choice here, with strong players like Alicia being on the bench, like MMA who's still there. We have, of course, also Hart, just to give another example of a player that he could have sent out here.
Yeah.
And now we have him going into the Expand and also the Mothership Core, which reminds me already a little bit of the strategy that we saw Tails use.
Yeah, it's definitely reminiscent of that. When you have these fast double gas, 2 in gas for each, it allows you to both get the Nexus up and also get that Mothership Core out quickly. The faster you have the Mothership Core out, the more different abilities you can use. The Time Warp ability if you want to be aggressive, but more usually the defensive upgrade. And it looks like he's going to actually try to slow the workers of his opponent and get some scouting information with his Mothership Core.
In case you did not see the match that Tails built, Tails was going for a very aggressive strategy in terms of how he used his economy. He went so greedy and only relying on the Mothership Core on the Nexus cannon that he could use for defense. One gate going straight into tech. Robo, Twilight Council, Double Forge, he had it all. And here we have the Robo already. No gate so far, but it's of course the question, will Crank use the normal timing for the gateways and get them after the robotics, or will he go very greedy and try to rely on the abilities of the Mothership Core to hold off early attacks?
Yeah, you know, it's all about what type of tech your opponent has. If your opponent is going for some sort of factory-based play where you can siege up your Nexus or go for Widowmine drop, it's a little bit risky to try to cut things out. But if he goes for a bio-based attack, that's really easy to use that Mothership Core. What we actually see, though, is a fast third command center from Yoda. He's secured his natural, he's got a bunker up.
Yep.
Probe's going to actually get taken out here and see it.
When we talk about the openings, one of the things that I really feel is that in especially the Protoss play, there is so much more that you can do right now. Players are always trying to come up with new build orders, and especially players like Tails that we already mentioned are really famous for doing so. But with the Mothership Core, you have so many different options now, and it's something that will probably change over the next few months quite significantly. Whereas Crank is relying on a lot more gateways in the early game. He's not playing it as risky as Tails did. He's at least after the Robo adding 2 more gates before he starts with the first Forge, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, he saw the command center there, but he doesn't know what's behind it, so he has to just play us a little bit safer. Double Forge going down now, though. And he did catch the Reaper, which is really nice, so now Yoda doesn't have the ability to just pop in and say, hi, what kind of composition are you making? Do you have your Forges up yet? And that's something he can feel comfortable with, rest easy on right now.
At this point, what you can really see is that with the Double Forge, the idea for Crank is to get the upgrades out a lot faster than the channel player. And this can help you so much. If you hit good timings, the player that is very famous for doing so is Creator, then you can really overpower your opponent with an upgrade lead. And especially when you are also able to hit the Chrono Boost, this is something that becomes very important. We would expect to see a Twilight Council there very soon as well, so that the +2/+2 is immediately available to Crank once that he finishes 1-1.
He's showing an Oracle here, which is... it accomplishes many things. First of all, it's scouting, but he already has an Observer. This is mostly just to make Yoda think that he might have a Stargate, but that was not well done there. I think he was worried about his Observer, which also died, so several things just went wrong for Crank. The first is, you want to go in there and pretend like he has a Stargate so that maybe Yoda thinks he's going Phoenix Colossus or something like that. That didn't work because he saw his hallucination. He also lost his Observer, so... you know, not that Crank is way behind because of this, but his initial idea didn't really come off the way he planned it.
He's going now into the Twilight Council though, and even taking a third base behind all of this, heading into 1-1. And one of the problems that Yoda will definitely have later on is that he is currently only relying on 1 engineering bay, which means he will be significantly behind in the upgrades. So if Crank is able to hit a timing here, he could do a lot of damage with this, but he has to work really well with this. Ooh, and we have Dark Shrine to spice things up even more.
I've seen more players going for Dark Shrine on 3 base once the drops come out because they're so useful to defend drops, and if your opponent neglects building turrets, you can also do a lot of damage offensively with the DTs. This Stalker placement here is so critical. He does not see the Nexus.
And one of the things that is of course really important to mention here in Heart of the Swarm now is that the Dark Shrine is just so easier to get. It's just more cost efficient since the gas costs were reduced. Very important here.
Yeah, it's so much more simple, but he actually cancels it, if I'm not mistaken. Something was cancelled over there, and since the Dark Shrine couldn't have finished that quickly, he must have cancelled that, but he does have the Warp Prism coming across.
Yeah. The gas cost of the Dark Shrine, in case you're wondering about specifics, were going down from 250 gas to 150. The mineral cost was slightly increased from 100 to 150. As Wolf already mentioned, it won't make any difference in this game, won't play a huge role because the Dark Shrine was actually cancelled after it was spotted.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his Mothership Core nearby. This attack is going to be very difficult to defend. He has sentries, but that Mothership Core needs to get over there. If the Nexus gets too low before it's even activated, it won't matter.
The force fields, they matter, and that's exactly what he uses right now. Here comes the cannon, and he's going for it right away, but the target on the Nexus.
Yeah, he's hesitating a little bit here. He decides to go for the army.
Here comes the Nexus focus once again, and this time he will be able to take it out. Only taking a few hits here from the Nexus cannon. In the end, it's not enough to hold the third base.
Yeah, the Mothership Core was just a little bit too far away. And now Yoda, not only does he kill his opponent's third base, his third base is landed, and he will start to mine from it soon. He has all of the units still alive in those dropships. They're going to keep Crank from going for a similar counterattack. And this is where the DTs could have been useful to go for a counterattack during all of this.
And of course, once more the drop play with the speed, he's boosting in, and then he can take down a few harvesters at the natural, forcing the units to defend here, while dropping once again to the top left. The Medivac survives with 3 hit points, and this Toaster's pylon might actually... not be taken out.
Not quite. Both Medivacs surviving, though, is such an annoying thing for Crank to have to face because he knows they're just going to come back. They're not just going to disappear.
But again, this one advantage that we mentioned earlier, +2/+2, is nearly completed, whereas Yoda is just barely edging out the first upgrade.
Yeah.
That was a weird way to say that, but the first arm upgrade.
To put it in a more literal sense, 2-2 is now done for Crank. 1-1 for Yoda is not even done.
Yeah.
So he starts 3-3. That upgrade advantage is going to snowball like crazy in a moment.
This actually reminds me very much of how Creator used to approach this matchup.
But the economy for Yoda here may make it so that he has an army that's so big it just doesn't matter. He's already up about 34 supply.
And he's going now with a double engineering bay also in double upgrades. But still, with the good timing, there could a lot of damage be dealt by the Protoss player. If Crank gets this timing, that would be exactly what he needs. Warp Prism gets unfortunately taken out by one of the Vikings. Well done here by Yoda.
Yeah, that Warp Prism didn't serve much of a role in this game. Now a Phoenix Scout comes out with those sentries. He just wants to continually find out his opponent's position. And every time Yoda scans to kill an observer, he loses a little bit of vision. He wants to keep that up, so if Yoda's ever going for a big stim attack or a large doom drop, he'll know about it because he continues to send the Phoenixes around. He wants to check. He can click on the Marines as well here and say, what are your upgrades at right now?
Ghosts are being built before the Templar Archive is even done, so Storm will immediately be countable. But of course, also the question is how many Colossi do you really have? How many Vikings are there to counter them? 5 against 2 at this point. The upgrade's not done just yet for Crank.
That was such a close call on that Marauder getting picked up there. And this is, again, just one of the reasons why it's important to have map control and vision. And that's how he was able to move his units into position to defend that third base. And the balance for Yoda is going to be the hardest part for him right now. Is like you said, he tries to make... Oh, wow, he's actually just going to do the pull?
Yep, he's pulling the SCVs. He's going to move in. +3/+3 with a good chrono boost might just be done in time.
Yeah. I think it actually will be, since there was some hesitation there. And this scan almost missed the observer.
He has the chrono boost, though. The attack upgrade is nearly done. If he can get those upgrades out before the push hits, that would be so important for him.
And
he's nearly there.
He knows it's coming.
Yeah.
He knows it. He's seen it with his observer.
Oh, look at the timing. Look at the timing.
So many SCVs here. This is such a close timing here. He needs to make sure his Zealots are in the front. He needs to have his Mothership Core ready.
+3 attack.
The
it's
target
nearly
of the
done.
Mothership Core.
The double time warp here, and he buys himself enough time to get the upgrades out. +3/+3 is ready.
Yeah, this is going to be all or nothing for Yoda. He has to kill Crank here. If he does not, the game will be over, and it won't be him who's winning it. The SCVs, with a pathing mistake here, they're a bit isolated.
And here comes the main force of the Protoss player moving in immediately, taking apart every single SCV, thanks to those Colossi. What about the Vikings? They're being focused by the Stalkers, but not fast enough.
The other Colossi need to be targeting a little bit earlier. The Zealots with 3-3 really putting some work on those Marauders. It looks like Crank may just have enough. He needs another round of Warpins, though. Where is it?
He needs the Warpins in a quick stim, trying to take out the last of those Colossi. One is still alive, but it looks like Crank has done it.
Looks like it. That is too much for the Bioforce to handle. The Medevac's starting to fall here. Crank takes a supply lead. He has the economy lead as well. The last Colossus falls.
Reinforcements are streaming across the map, though we still have a few Medivacs to lend their strength to
And
this
the
push.
Vikings land here, but I just don't know the Warpins come through.
And the Warpins come through and they charge in right away.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be too much. The Viking falls, the Stalkers, just the upgrades are too much. +2 armor, not even done yet for Yoda.
Another charge, and here it is. GG! Crank has done it.
No more streak for you, Yoda.
That was well done by Crank here. We were a little bit skeptical at the beginning of his choice because of the performance that he had against Terran in this matchup at the UK Masters, but he looked strong and he is energized. Look at that.
Yeah. He's stopped the streak, and he's put his team back on the scoreboard, tying things up 2-2.
Great upgrade performance here by him. He had the 3-3 when the push hit, and this was definitely the downfall of Yoda. Without those upgrades, that would be a very different fight.
And the engagement, where he chose to do it, gave his Vikings a good angle, but when he decided to just kind of 1A there, his SCVs went not only to the right where they were isolated, but also through those time warps. And so they weren't able to get in and tank that damage like they were supposed to.
They were the first victim in that war, the pawns that he sent out, and they went the wrong way. So right now, it is once again up to LGIM to choose a player.
Yeah, and they have such a great list of players to choose from.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see what they are going to do right now. It is such a diverse lineup that I cannot possibly predict who's going to come out.
Yeah, you know, normally in a situation like this, I would say somebody like Lucira, but against a Protoss, I'm not sure if you want to send a Zerg out right now. It just doesn't seem to be a matchup that Zergs are feeling as comfortable with, and everything's on the line here.
It's definitely also a map choice in this situation. There are certain maps where you can really pull this off. I mean, Lucira, or how he calls himself these days, Kango, he might come out here, might be the player that we see next. We might. The one thing that amazes me about LGIM is their Protoss lineup.
Yeah.
It is insanely good.
They could go out with a mirror here.
Yeah.
They could send out Squirtle, for example. More likely, as we predicted earlier, though, we'll see Seed come out if it is going to be a Protoss player and play the mirror. So they've got a lot of options, and you know what's funny about having a lot of choices is sometimes it's hard to make the right one.
It definitely depends on what kind of shape the player is feeling today, and Hero will ask his boys earlier, okay, who wants to play today, who really feels on top of things right now. And the thing is, like, every single player that we've asked told us, I want to play. They don't have a single one who says, like, I'm not feeling it today, I don't want to be out on the bench right now. Every single one of them is eager to show his skills. LGIM these days just looks to gather more and more momentum and to perform even better than they did in the past.
Yeah, I completely agree, and this may be their season. He is really focusing, I refer, of course, to the coach Hirai, really focusing on the team league. In the past, we've seen excellent individual league results, but LGIM falling short sometimes in the team league. And what choice are you going to make, Hirai?
We have Bial to the top left, the bottom right, Squirtle and Kango. It's really going to be him. Oh, no.
Oh, what a tease. Unless he's just taking the long way again. I think he did that last time.
Yeah, he's actually...
Yeah, he's just doing that again. We need to teach him how to exit.
Yeah. All right, so it is going to be Lucira. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit surprised, but if you look at how LGIM operates most of the time, Lucira comes out towards the end. He's not your last man standing, but he is a guy who can come out and get you a few wins and stabilize you. This is obviously a different format than we had last time, so it's less players.
I'm really interested to see how he does. I was a little bit sad when he changed his ID. This is his real name that he's using here, Kango, instead of Lucira. I feel Lucira was a very fitting nick, and he worked with Pride for a long time. So it surprised me that he was one of the few players that actually changed his ID.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Let's be honest, it's a lot better than calling yourself Swagger.
Who do I mean,
yeah. I share your feelings on this.
I could talk about it for an hour at least, but all I know is when I see that belt in the GSTL intro before we come back from a commercial break, I'm like, listen, and don't call yourself Swagger, and don't wear that belt. Don't let me see you wear that belt ever again, Killer. I don't want to see it ever again. I hope that you burn it, and then take the ashes of that belt and scatter them over the ocean disrespectfully, like and then spit at them or something, because that's where that belt belongs. Now, the map choice is Red City for Lucira, a map we haven't seen actually all too often.
Yeah, Red City is coming now into play for this match. We have a Zerg versus a Protoss. Lucira, aka Kango, he is out now, and he has to deal with Crank, who just won against Yoda. Great game. with a very strong upgrade strategy, was preferring him from the early game, built those 2 forges very early, and then he was ready for the push of Yoda when he pulled his SCVs.
This is going to be a really interesting match. See if Crank goes air style. We've seen that a lot in this matchup, just going for tons and tons of Void Rays. First you make some Void Rays, and then you make some more Void Rays, and sometimes the Zerg cannot respond. It's a tough choice to make as a Zerg player how to respond to that air style right now. They haven't quite figured it out. There's some people have beaten it, but it's not easy.
I have to say that I see more people winning against the Void Ray style with Viper use, for example, than I see them win against High Templar, Tempest, and a lot of Cannons, which is still one of the styles that we see on the ladder quite a lot. But well, we're going to find out what exactly is going to happen here. You're certainly right that Void Rays are very strong in this matchup, but I mean, Lucira is here for a reason, so he definitely feels confident in his abilities to win his game here at the GSTL 2013 Season 1 Color.